What it
Hello,
do?
how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Good man. So I'm told that because you're late, you also freestyle.
Yikes. You guys hate me. You guys really hate me. um,
That's ngoba you're
do
10
I?
minutes late.
Yeah, no, I am late. I was expecting it to give me a notification and then I was gonna pull out and
Okay.
then it said no, gal. So yeah, I'm finally here though.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
As you know, we are big fans of Venusraps. As Kipani, we love
Love to see
you.
it.
We love you. We love everything about you, man. For those that don't have the benefit of knowing who you are, can you just give us a brief introduction into who Venusraps is?
Okay, so Venusraps is a rapper who is originally from Newcastle in KZN. Shout out to my 034 people. Yeah, I'm
Word up.
originally from Newcastle. I started rapping about 11 years ago. So I've been rapping for 11 years now. And what else? Yeah, that's just about it.
Man, I'm interested. What was it like growing up in Newcastle? What's your most vivid childhood memory?
I think something that stands out for me because initially when I was growing up, I didn't have like a space where I belonged, you know. So when I was growing up at Upper Park, it was always I always felt kind of left out until I moved to Emonteni, which is Osizweni, where I kind of found well for the first I think for the first year or 2 years I kind of felt like I didn't belong because Mount Denige, you know, they used to tease me like, "Hi, when Anjalo, you're always speaking English," you know. As soon as I found rap, it was kind of like a space where I belonged, you know, where I connected with people. And that was my thing, you know. It wasn't like because everyone ekasi ebejiva, namaputra, namawatwat, nabadlali bola, and then I was the rapper, you know,
Yes,
because
yes.
nobody in my little because okay, the hoods are divided, ne? So koni diwani, koni machekecheni, kona emalunghome, kona there's different hoods. So Emachegeten, there was no one who was rapping except my uncle's friend Uchester.
Mhm.
So as soon as I found that, it was like a thing that I had that was different to everybody else's, you know. So I think my most vivid memory of my childhood is, hurrying up to clean. Clean fast with 11, 12 so I can walk to Etiwan and go record. So
Ah,
that one is the one that sticks with me.
what's the first joint you recorded? Do you remember it?
The very, very first one was a song called Umona. Oh, yikes. I didn't even write that bitch myself.
Oh, so you had a ghostwriter.
But that was, yeah. So when I started rapping, my uncle's friend was the one who was writing for me, right?
Mm.
And then because he initially was the person who recruited me, like, yo, can you rap? Because I heard you rapping along to some songs when you were cleaning. I was like, maybe, you know. And then he was like, okay, spit something for me, like a verse that you've memorized, so that I can kind of decipher whether or not you can rap. And I did that. Um, and then after that, he was like, okay, pull up, let me write you a song, and then we can go record it. And that was how Umona came about. And then, yeah, that was. I remember the first time I heard myself, I was just like, "Yikes! Okay, this is my thing.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like I got this."
yeah.
Yeah.
I must say, man, your pen game is quite incredible. And for people that are able to move me personally, with the way that they use their words, I always admire them. So I want to know, did you study sort of like the I don't know, the fundamentals of writing? Were you that girl, that hip hop nerd that was listening to like, okay, this is a bar, this is what a bar means, you lay a punchline, or did it come
um,
naturally to you?
I really think it came naturally because I was listening to music and for me, it was more of a thing where I was listening to people and I was like, I really want to sound like that. I want to, like, it, for me, it was more about delivery
Mm-hmm.
than it was about bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started teaching myself how to write, I realized that when people rap, they give you like, they'll give you a line that could have 2, 3 different meanings.
Yeah.
So I started, gravitating towards that, and kind of trying to make it doper by saying more than, saying less than I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
you decide what I'm saying, so yeah, I studied, I want to say I studied a lot of rappers, mostly a lot of female rappers, um until it was just a thing where I could just write, it could come just like that,
Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
yeah.
I recently heard your KZN Lockdown Cypher. Hey, wow. Wow. Can I just say I don't think I've ever wanted anybody to drop a Vernick project more than I want you to drop it, right? And I was pleasantly
Sorry.
surprised by it. Besides the bars, the language aspect was what stood out for me. I want to know how important is language when it comes to making music, especially considering the fact that we have 11 official languages in the country, and everybody wants to feel like they're represented by, the
Mm-hmm.
people that are making the art. So how
Mm-hmm.
important is language for you?
I think that's a very important word that you said there, represented. Um, Initially, when I started rapping, I always felt like I sounded very weird when I rap in Zulu, right? So for most of my career, I've just been rapping in English
Mhm.
until I did a song called Inkunzi with Man Q. And so he's a Swati rapper, right? So he embodies Swati rap like fully. So now my thing was that if I'm gonna come onto the song with a person who carries his heritage so well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to carry mine as well, So that was the first time I did like a whole Vernac thing in a song, and I had never done that before. So from there, I realized that actually, if I'm gonna say I want to represent and I wanna kind of be visible for Black women, for plus size women, for dark skinned women, I'm going to need to be visible for Zulu women as well.
Mm.
I'm going to need to be visible for Zulu rappers as well. So I'm going to need to say things in Zulu so that people know what is Zulu sihle. You can spit in Zulu and you can be fire,
Yeah.
So I think that's how initially it started, and I think it's very important because everybody else can offer something that is unique to them,
Yes.
right? So I feel like as umuntu omzulu, my kind of different thing that I can offer is my language, because ngikule ngumzulu. I didn't speak Zulu until I was like 5. We all have our different languages and heritages. That is something that you can add onto your music that will make you unique, and will mean that it kind of it makes your music that much richer. Because if you look at it, Usjava, Shoma Jozi, those are the two BET award winners we have in South Africa. Why? Because they're very authentic. They offer something that you can't find in America, which is Istonga, Nezulu. You can't find that in America.
Yeah.
So I feel like it gives you a very distinct kind of, it gives you a very different feeling when people listen to your music.
That's
So yeah.
incredible. What do you think? What do you think of the scene right now? I mean, we have a lot of artists that are coming through. I mean, today I featured a guy who is like like a Venda rap god, and I had never heard of him
Mm.
before, and he's incredible. There's a lot of
Yeah.
songa coming through. Sesotho with Ndakestana and Malome Vector coming through with that tippy movement with the Sesotho rap. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts on sort of like the movement of embracing language in hip hop in particular?
I really feel that, like, prior to I feel like this era, right? We were very fixated on what hip hop means because we were still trying to find what hip hop means for South Africans. So a lot of South Africans were rapping in English because we thought that is what hip hop meant. Until Mutswako came about and we were like, okay, so people can rap in their languages, right? And now I think we're all realizing that you can be a Zulu rapper and not have to be fully like Milukoge Manjama Beshu, you know, like it doesn't, what being, for example, Mina, being Zulu means what it means to you. So you share it the way you see fit. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's actually very, it's wonderful. I won't lie to you, because sometimes I listen to Black Diamond.
Yes.
There's this boy, Udanya, he's the light-skinned one. Udanya has some fire lines, and you just think, like, you sit there and you think about it, you're like, wait, like, how did he think of this, you know? So he's one of those people that I listen to and I'm like, this is why it's important to share in your language as well, because you come up with things that another person would have never been able to say, you know? Yeah.
Dope. And let's talk about how much of yourself you put in your music. A trend in the Venusraps, like your brand basically, is authenticity, and it's being able to fully express yourself, you know. I listened to one of your quarantine series flows, and you rap about like your mom. It's that verse about your mom and, you know, your stepfather and that. And for me that was moving, because that's you putting so much of yourself into your raps, you know. So how much of Venusraps's character is in the music?
I feel like a lot. Like, because my thing is that when I started writing music, I was rapping more, it was more of a monkey see, monkey do type thing, you know? So I'd look at how other people write and I'd write based on that. It wasn't really a thing where I would write about myself, because at that point I couldn't. But as I started rapping more, I started being able to say, okay, this is what I am going through. This is what I feel. This is what, and it became a thing where I wanted to say more about myself, so that if you're out there and you're listening and you're going through the exact same thing, I just want you to know that, number one, you're not alone. Number two, it gets better. Like, you will, and when you've gone through it, it'll feel like a dream, because you won't believe how you got out of that. So basically that's literally it's mostly like what my brand is centered around, just being able to say, hey, I'm here, I was exactly where you are right now, and now I'm here, you're looking at me, so believe that one day somebody else who's in your position will need you to tell them that I was there too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
How has your experience been as an up and coming female rapper in the South African hip hop industry? 11 years strong in the game. How has that been like?
Yeah, I don't even want to lie to you. Like, it's the ghetto. It is the ghetto. It's the ghetto because it's a very male dominated industry, number one, and then the women who are in the industry are women who are very different from me, you know. There aren't many women who look like me, act like me, spit like me, are like me, who are in the industry right now, especially the South African industry. So it's very difficult trying to teach people how to treat me, and to tell people what it is that I represent, because not many people are willing to give me interviews, are willing to give me features on, whether it's online blogs or whatever. Not a lot of people want to acknowledge the fact that I'm here, you know? So it's very difficult, because I don't fit the criteria that people want a female rapper to be. Yes, I'm dope, but I'm not out here in, you know, booty shorts or whatever it is that they want to see a female rapper do, you know? So it's very difficult, because I've really, like, it's been 11 years, and for 11 years straight, I've been spitting straight fire. But in my 11th year, I'm still coming up against people who have been rapping for 2 years, and it makes you wonder, like, why, you know? So that is my biggest struggle to this day. But also, it's just being taken seriously. being taken
Mm.
seriously. Like if I say this is what I'd like, if for an example, if I'm working with someone, um or even if I'm at a show and I have to perform, if I say this is what I want, um it's usually met with like a resistance as opposed to my male counterparts, you know.
Mm.
So that's also another difficulty, but other than that, I'm having fun.
It's been dope.
It's been,
You know,
you know what,
actually,
can I tell you?
tell me.
um being a rapper is crazy. It's like, have you ever, like, if you write a verse, right, and then you hear your verse and you're just like, damn. You're like, who the hell, you know? Like, I think that is the greatest part, like hearing the growth in my music, like hearing a song that I put out 11 years ago or even 5 years ago and hearing myself now is amazing, because I'm just like, wow, how did you grow like that? Like, what happened?
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And let's talk about the many times that you have threatened to quit. Okay, and you've tormented our souls because of that. Let's talk
um
about what are some of the things that kind of made you want to quit, and what are some of the things that kept you going?
okay, so I'll go through my quitting timeline. So
Okay.
the first time I wanted to quit music was, I think it might have been 2012. um I was okay. I had to move from my mom's side of the family. So from Elokshini, I had to move back to Abapak. So that meant I didn't have a place to record. So in my head, I was like, okay, let's quit. And then I moved to Joburg in 2014. And that's when, like, I was really serious. I was like, okay, let's get it. You know, and then 2017, that's when I started actively recording, actively dropping music. And then I think the first time that I was really serious about quitting was December of 2017. So what had happened then was that a boy called, I think his name was Jazz something, excuse me, but he was one of those new wave boys. So he hit me up and he booked me for a show. Oh, actually, that week, two new wave boys booked me for shows. The first one said
Yeah.
to me, so obviously my video was on Trace Africa at the time, so in my head I'm doing pretty good. The first one, I think his name was Don something. I can't remember the rest of it. He said to me, I asked him, I'm like, okay, so this is now a week before the show. I asked him, I'm like, oh, so you realize that you're supposed to pay like a deposit, for me to pull up to the show. He's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. We have to pay bigger artists first. And by bigger artists, he meant there's a boy called Patrick Lee, and at the time, I was on
Yes.
Trace Africa. Patrick Lee was not.
Hmm.
I was livid. I won't even lie to you. I was pissed. And then about 2 days later, no, the next week, I had to do a show in Rosebank, I think. No, it was in Newtown, sorry, Newtown. In Newtown,
Hmm.
booked by a boy called Jazz. So he's like, yeah, pull up, you can perform. So we take an Uber, and my two best friends were there at the time with me. And I'm telling you, I'm going to that show broke. He hasn't even paid me a deposit. You know what I'm saying?
Gee.
We go and we get there. I keep asking, when am I performing? When am I performing? And he's just like, no, 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 don't worry about it. No, don't worry about it. I'll call you. So we relax. Mind you, we're not even getting a rider. So they're not buying me or my friends drinks. They're not, they didn't pay for my transport. Nothing. Just bare stories. Okay. So later on, they just shut down the show. I'm like, how? My performance? They're like, no, 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 it's fine. I'm like, okay, but I still need to get paid. And I kid you not, it was me, DJ Intro, the Big Hash, and one of Big Hash's friends. We stood outside until like 2 a.m. in the morning. That time it's freezing cold, freezing cold. We're standing there, our toes are frozen, our hands are frozen. We don't have a way to get back home. So my two best friends had caught an Uber back home. And I was like, okay, I still want to wait because I still want to find out what the fuck. you know.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
kid you not, I just stood there. I stood there for hours until Hash, I can't remember who Hash caught a cab with. And then me and Intro had to catch, we had to catch a cab to, what is it, Carlton Center. And then at the time, I was living with my friend in Soweto, so I had to catch a taxi to Soweto. And yo, that December made me quit music. Like, I was like, you know what, I'm done. You guys have been on my case for years talking about drop music, we'll support you, blah, 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 drop, drop, drop. And when I finally drop, this is how you guys treat me. I'm done. And then
Mm-hmm.
that, I won't lie, that was the first time that I really felt, I'm pretty sure, I think I got home and it was like 6 a.m. and my friend was supposed to go to work. I got home and I just sat on her little chair and I cried. I sobbed my eyes out and they were sleeping still. I sobbed. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't. And then the second time that I wanted to quit, I think was in 2018 because end of 2017, I decided to sign. Yikes.
Who did you sign to?
um, I signed to a certain company that I'm not allowed to mention because I signed an NDA when I had to leave.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
but you guys know them. They have some two trap boys. You know those trap boys, trap duo. You know. So with them, initially,
I
initially
know
when I
exactly what you're
signed with
talking
them,
about.
I know you know. um, but initially when I signed with those guys, they're like, so they hit me up like, yo, we'd like to sign you, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. But you know, because when I moved out of home in 2017, I was just like living with a lot of friends, so I didn't have a place to stay. So as soon as these guys are coming to me with a deal, I'm like, oh my god, this is great. That means I can finally have a place to stay and stop being, you know, a couch hopper. So I say to them, my one condition, I don't want no advances. I don't want crazy things. All I want is just studio, and a place to live. So just pay my rent and get me studio. That's it. What do they say? Okay, gal, we got you. March, I remember February I was living with someone, and then March I moved out, went into my
Yeah.
place, and as they sent me money for rent. And at the time I was sharing this place, so it wasn't even that much. I was paying like I think it was 1.7 plus electricity
Mm-hmm.
1.9. You know, so I hit them up. They give me the money. I pay rent. I pay electricity. I'm good. So I have a place to live. First month. Second month. Oh, before I finish that. So I'm living in this place now. I'm back and forth to studio every Wednesday. This is me every week. I'm in studio. I'm recording this EP that I was supposed to drop with them. Um, and then now the second month, I'm like, yo, what it do? What about the rent? They're like, nah, nigga. They're like, nope.
What?
I kid you not. I kid you not. They're like, no, we're not paying your rent,
Whoa.
child. Mm. I'm like, well, at least get me shows so I can pay my own rent. They're like, you're not done with the project. Just finish the project first. So in 2018, I had to sit on Facebook and beg people to send me ama 200 to pay my rent.
Wow,
And I
wow,
did.
wow.
And I paid my rent. And and then after that month, I decided to move back home to my mom's. She
Mm.
lives just here in Bertram's. So I decided to move back to my mom's house. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't anymore, you know? And then by the grace of God, I had a fight with them niggas. And I told them so much shit. And the next morning, the guy who, I swear. So they had booked me for a show that was paying 500 Rand, of
Yeah.
which they were taking, I think they were taking 50% of my 500. So that means I only get 250, right?
Mm.
So now, first of all, you're booking me for a show that will not even amount to 50% of my rent. It's like literally not even 50% of my rent. Number one. Number two, I have my best friend. She's a DJ. So I had my best friend as my personal DJ, and I took her out of her home. She lives in Cosmo. Now we're in
Mm.
Bram, Sepepenyega, we're in Hillbrow, we everywhere, but
Oh.
we're not at the show because you guys are saying, oh, and they always wanted to maintain this thing of exclusivity. Like they'll go and check out what's going on, and then you can
Mm.
come. And that was my issue because I'm here with a person who has a laptop in their bag. In the middle of the night, we're in the streets of Bram, wherever the fuck. Like we're just wandering around, and it's two girls. You don't think. You don't think, because, and next thing I knew, I was calling them and I told them so much shit, all the shit in my life, because I'd been putting up with their bullshit. I had to move back home and deal with my stepdad because they wouldn't pay my rent, even though when I signed, they had said, we're gonna pay your rent. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I'm over it. I just need you guys to know that you ain't shit. And the next morning, the person who was dealing with me personally called me and was like, oh, what happened? So and so told me that you guys had a fight yesterday. I'm like, yes, and I still stand by it. He ain't shit. Okay, all of y'all ain't shit. And they said to me, okay, in that case, so and so says he doesn't want to work with you anymore because you're very foul and you're very vile and you're vulgar and yeah. I'm like, oh well, he can suck my dick. Send me a release letter. Send me a release letter. Let me sign that shit, and you guys can all go the fuck away. And they sent me a release letter. But now in the release letter, it says, I can't talk about them. I can't talk about any of the shit that they've done to me, because they know for a fact that if I ever was vocal about what had happened, nobody would ever sign to them. And now that's the funniest thing. They thought because I left, I can't tell anybody else about them, and that would cause people to leave them. But a few months, actually, it was a year after I left, one of the niggas who had signed with them said to me, DM me on Twitter, like, yo, so when you left that record label last year, how did you leave? I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, what it do, baby? So I told him, I was like, nah, this is what happened. And then he hit me up, I think like a week later, telling me no. So I got my manager to handle it. I'm out. I'm like, yo, welcome to freedom.
Man,
yo,
that sounds like a horror story.
It is. And then that was the second time I thought of quitting. And then the last time I actually did quit, last year, after I dropped, I'm a quitter, guys. Please, I'm sorry. But after I dropped Glock, I was just like, oh, so just before I dropped Glock and I was on MTV Raps, I got a job, right? So now I'm sitting there at my job, at my 9 to 5. I'm thinking, a salary, a whole monthly salary. That's stability, my nigga. I don't need this music shit no more. Fuck this music shit. It doesn't pay me, you know? So I stopped going to studio. I stopped that whole thing. I'm just like, yeah, me now, I'm a working girl. That's it. So I quit the whole entire, like from like June of 2019, I was not doing music. I was not there for the music. And then until recently, like I think it was April. No, it was February actually. No, man. Oh no, it was March. Sorry, it was definitely March. My current manager hit me up like, yo, so we're doing something at JNB Hive. Do you want to come perform? And I was like, I don't know.
At this point, you don't have any new music recorded. You have
at this point,
none of that.
I don't have anything. You know, I haven't been performing in months, over 6 months. I haven't dropped any music. I'm not even like, I haven't even performed. Like I haven't done a single thing. You know, I haven't even been to studio. So he's like, yo, pull up, let's do it. Come perform. You know, come feel the vibes. So I'm hesitant until like a week. I think about a week before, and then I hit him up like, yo, nah, it's cool, put me on, you know. So he does, and then I went and I performed at JNB Hive, and I enjoyed myself so much. After that, like I think that's the night that reminded me, you don't do music because you don't do music for people to validate you. You don't do music for people to like you. You don't do music for connections, for money, for you don't do music for anything other than the fact that it fulfills you and you love it. So if you're gonna say you're gonna quit for all these other external reasons and you just want to be miserable, then you're gonna be miserable. So at the end of the day, are you gonna come and do this, or are you just gonna be miserable for the rest of your life? And that night I was like, girl, I'm there. Okay, pull up with it. Like I was just like, yeah, let's go, let's get it popping. And 2 days later, I think about a day, 2 days later, I went and I shot the Bring On Bars Cypher, and then I did Corner Store. I recorded Corner Store and Alex with Cholo Azaya and Man Q, And then like 2 days later, I went to Yellow Manor to record Inkunzi. And then when I was recording Inkunzi, I recorded Kittens as well. So I had to re-record Kittens because we had fucked up the whole. Anyway, I think that's when I was just like, okay, I'm back now. And then lockdown.
Yo, it kind of set you back. There.
Just when I was getting into the groove, back into the groove of things, just lockdown. I was touched. I won't lie.
Man. Well, a question just came in now. They're asking, have you ever felt the need to succumb to, taking a different direction when it comes to your music to be more appealing, in terms of like your sound, in terms of like, sexing it up a little bit and, watering it down a little bit? Has that ever come to any sort of discussion around your brand?
I think yes, in two aspects. Number one, just me and myself. Okay, first, let's start with the label. So the label had been saying to me, no, girl, you can't always come through with the bars, okay? Nobody's going to buy that. You need to sing a little bit, okay? Make a song where you're just singing. And I was just like, okay, but then you guys signed me because I can rap, not because I can sing. So what are you saying? And then the second one was just me kind of, as soon as I left the deal and I realized like, okay, no, like nobody wants to hear me rap. Like they hear me and they're like, oh yeah, that's great for you. But nobody wants to hear me rap. Like nobody's like, oh, have you guys heard this dope rapper? Or nobody's like, hey guys, there's a dope rapper, book her. Hey guys, there's a dope rapper, interview her. Nobody's interested in my story. Like they're not here for it. So at the end of the day, I was like, maybe I'm too rapidly rap. Maybe I should sing. Maybe I should, be sexier. Maybe I should be, I don't know. Like maybe I should do something different. Until like my manager says to me all the time, he always has these 3 words that he says, and until recently they meant fuck all to me. He always says, trust your dope. He always says, trust your dope. And until recently, I was just like, hey, trust which dope? Hey, stressing me. Okay, I want to wear tights and twerk and wear booty shorts like other honeys so that people can buy my music, and listen to my music and stream my music. Until I realized that me being me is what will help people to be, is what actually not even will help people, has made people attracted to what I do. Because I'm so me that you can't find any fault with it, like if you find a fault it's because you were a hating ass nigga, but but if we're being honest, if we're being 100, there isn't anybody who's me in South Africa, male or female. So when he says trust your dope every time now, I understand exactly what it means, because it means you don't have to sex it up. You don't have to sing to be an R&B honey, or you don't have to do anything other than be yourself in order for you to get it popping. Like all you just have to do is be yourself, and that's all I'm interested in being at this point, because I'm realizing that whether I do what people like or not, if it's not time, it's not time. So as soon as it's time, it'll pop off. As soon as it's time, I'll be on Zikipani. As soon as it's time, I'll be doing the necessary steps. I'll be stepping on the necessary stones to get to where I want to be. Yeah.
Now I'm interested to find out from you what would you say your position in the game is right now? I really don't consider you new wave, because your pen is not new wave. Like no, but I just from your perspective, where would you slot yourself in the game right now?
Can I tell you, that's something that's always always sucked for me, because I'm young, so I should be fitting in with the new wave niggas,
Yes,
but I don't fit in with the new wave people because I rap. But also I don't fit in with the OGs, because the OGs and the gatekeepers are just like, okay, sbadala, so we stand here, you don't fit here, umncane, you know. So I really don't fit anywhere, because I can't even say I fit in with the honeys, because none of the honeys are doing what I do, and none of the honeys are with me like that, you know. Like none of the honeys fuck with me like that. But also none of the niggas too. So like ngingedwa nje somewhere entabeni ngizama ukubamba isignali ayihlangani. You know. So because it's also like a thing where not just in terms of the fact that I rap, how I dress, how I sound, like the type of beats I hop on, my hair, my face, my skin, like everything like just goes against what we've known a rapper, male or female, to be in the past 10 years, you know. If you're a man, you have to dress a certain way. If you're a woman, you have to dress a certain way. If you're a woman, you rap a certain way about certain topics, about certain things, and you move with certain people. I literally am going, like, it's kind of like grazing a whole new path of my own, and it's the most difficult thing ever, because nobody's looking at me and going, hey, this is something that we need to see, and this is something that could be a blueprint for other, not just female rappers, but other rappers in the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a very awkward place to be, because I don't fit in anywhere.
But what are you doing to kind of make it work for you?
I think I'm trying not to quit. First things first. I'm trying not to quit. And secondly, I'm just trying to, because I'm a very sensitive person. I'm Cancer, so I'm extremely sensitive, and I take everything personally. So I'm trying to not take so many things personally. If someone didn't include me in a blog, I'm not taking it personally. If someone didn't post about my song or didn't share my song or hasn't listened to my song, I don't take it personally. I just I will put it in your face. That's what I'm doing now. I'm just like, I will put it in your face. If you want to ignore it, you will ignore it with your chest. But you're not going to tell me, oh, no, I wasn't aware. I made you aware because I DM'd you and I told you. So if you don't know, it's because you don't want to know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm over the thing, Yoguti. I'm just going to feel sorry for myself and sit in the corner and wait to get noticed and wait for someone to say, oh, and wait for someone to give me daps, or wait for I'm not waiting. If you're not with me now, you're against me, and if you're against me, then I got to get you out of the way. That's it.
So man, let's talk about the new music. Let's talk about Kittens. I was really excited because I was like, 2020 is the year that we are getting a project finally, because I'm seeing the moves that you're making. You know, you're working with artists. You know, you're on a lot more freestyles. You know, you've got music coming out. So let's talk about Kittens, which is your latest music release.
That's my biggest baby. I love that song with my entire heart. Okay. When did we do Kittens? One day, I think we did it 2018 when I was still living in Yeovil. No, was it 20? Yeah, it was 20. Must have been 2018 because I didn't have a job yet. I think it was late 2018. So when we did Kittens, it was just like a song. We did it the same day as Glock, but it was just like a song that we weren't ready to drop, you know, because it was just like, okay, we need to do it a single at a time. And also there was the whole thing that the sample that's used on Kittens, apparently Dee Koala used it in another one of her songs. So the producer of the beat was very hesitant for us to drop Kittens. Excuse me, sorry. So it was just like a thing where Kittens was set to never drop unless we find a different beat for it. Until this year, when I was just like, you know what, nah, nigga. Nah, okay, we need to, I don't care who's done it before, they haven't done it the way I'm finna do it. So we're gonna drop the song, and because it was just one of those songs that I felt like I really love Kittens with my entire heart, you know. I feel like it's one of those songs that kind of embodies like two sides of me, you know. The catchy hook, which is something I really struggled with, and Q had to help me, like, okay, this is how you write a hook, this is how you know, get it popping.
Yeah.
So it really embodies like the rapidy rap Venus, like Venusraps and Venus traps. Okay. So it was kind of like it I was able to kind of um incorporate the two things I've really always wanted to merge into my music for the longest time. So I was like, no, I don't care. We need to drop the song. I begged my manager. I was texting him. I'm like, no, but you need to understand the vision. I sent him an entire paragraph. And he was just like, yeah, I understand. I said, okay. And I was there with the paragraphs. Like, so yeah. But yeah, Kittens is just basically about me feeling slept on and me kind of owning my space, not just in the game, but anyway, you know,
Yeah.
um, especially in terms of my pen, because if I'm being like, okay, so the hook says, all your written sound like kittens, to be honest. I haven't heard a nigga doper than me since I started. I got up and turned the stove on full, then I departed, and niggas had to put their mittens on, but still I charted. So, basically, I've never heard anyone who could write a verse that was anything next to mine, you know, first things first. And I haven't heard a person whose delivery, if we have to come toe to toe, bar for bar right now, you can never deliver with the same finesse that I will ever.
Ish. Yes.
I got up and turned the stove on full, then I departed, which means I got up and I dropped heat and then I chiced, which
Yeah.
was what happened in 2017. And then niggas had to put their mittens on, but still I charted. So they put their mittens on. You know, when you take something out of the oven, you have to put on mittens. So they had to put their mittens on, but I still burnt it. Like, I burnt it. You can't tell me I didn't burn it. I always burn it. But yeah, it was just basically kind of me giving myself dabs because nobody's gonna give me dabs. Number one. Number two, kind of I'm getting into kind of my confidence, you know, feeling like, okay, you're making, like, trusting myself, trusting when I say something, it's dope. When I do something, it's dope. Just not being as anxious and as and not questioning myself too much, you know. So I'm just at a point where I'm trying to really fully immerse myself in my confidence and trusting that everything that I put my pin on will be fire. Because I mean, 11 years, how can you be whack after 11 years?
Yeah, no, can't, eh?
So
Also, how can
yeah,
you not drop a project? Venus, come on. Let's talk about the project. Come on, come on, come on. While we are still on the map, let us please
no
talk about
projects.
it. No ways.
I'm joking. Man, people have been hitting me up asking me to drop an album. The album will not come this year, unfortunately. However, I will be dropping a mixtape hopefully later this year. So if it's December and there's no project, guys, I'm sorry. But this year a mixtape is definitely coming because I do realize that I can't just drop singles the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's because also with singles you have to stick to a certain material. You know, you have to talk about certain things, certain topics only. Whereas with a body of work, you're able to fully say and do and be whoever you want to be. You know, I can make a song about myself, my parents, my upbringing, everything. Clubs, I can do it all. You know, with a project.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm gonna drop a project this year. And I don't know what it's gonna be called yet. I've only recorded 2 songs out of it so far. But it will be dropping, and yeah. So ningikhumbuze kodwa guys.
Aibo.
I'm joking.
How? How? So Kumuza Ganjan, you have to remind us.
No, I'm joking, deadass. I'm joking. I will definitely drop it. But I think like the reason why I haven't dropped a project yet is because I always felt like nobody's gonna listen to it, you know? Until the one time I went onto my SoundCloud, and my total plays were, I think it was something either less than or over 20K. And I was like, oh, people really, like, they listen to my music, like, dead ass, like, legit. And then that's when I was like, okay, girl, you can actually drop a project now. They're gonna listen to it, like, dead ass. Even if it takes them 15 years to get to 20K, it's fine, but they will have listened to it. So
Yes.
I think that's why I'm eager to drop a project now.
Yeah.